On June 4, 1944, in the Atlantic west of Africa, an American task group pulled off something almost nobody thought would happen in World War II. They captured a German U-boat alive. By 1944, the Battle of the Atlantic had become a ruthless contest of sonar, aircraft, code-breaking, and endurance. German submarines still threatened Allied shipping, but the balance was turning. American hunter-killer groups now roamed the ocean looking for U-boats before the U-boats could find convoys. One of those groups was Task Group 22.3, centered on the escort carrier USS Guadalcanal under Captain Daniel V. Gallery. Gallery had an unusual idea. He did not just want to sink a submarine. If the Americans ever found one disabled on the surface, he wanted to board it before it went under. That sounded reckless. A U-boat could be trapped, flooding, rigged with demolition charges, or ready to explode at any moment. But if it worked, the reward could be enormous. Codebooks, cipher settings, documents, and a complete enemy machine. On that June morning, destroyer escort USS Chatelain made sonar contact with U-505, commanded by Oberleutnant Harold Lang. Chatelain attacked with depth charges and then hedgehog fire. The assault shook the submarine badly enough to force it to the surface. When U-505 burst out of the water, the scene turned chaotic. American ships opened fire to keep the crew from manning deck guns. The Germans began abandoning the boat, believing it was fatally damaged. They also tried to scuttle it, opening valves and setting demolition measures so the submarine would sink before anyone could take it. That was the moment Gallery had imagined. A boarding party raced toward the drifting submarine from USS Pillsbury. Lieutenant Albert David led the first team onto the U-boat. They jumped aboard a vessel that was still moving, unmanned, and slowly filling with water. Inside, the air was foul, the compartments were dark, and every minute mattered. The Americans had to find the flooding, stop the scuttling, and search for intelligence before the boat disappeared beneath them. They worked with extraordinary speed. The boarders closed valves, cut lines, disconnected charges, and recovered documents, signal books, and coding material. More sailors arrived to help stabilize the submarine. Against the odds, the Americans kept U-505 afloat. That made the mission historic. The U.S. Navy had not captured an enemy warship on the high seas since the War of 1812. And this was not just any prize. U-505 was a Type Inc-C submarine, a long-range Atlantic predator, and now it was being taken intact, with intelligence still inside. Saving the submarine was only half the challenge. The task group then had to tow it across the Atlantic without letting the outside world know what had happened. If Germany learned a U-boat had been captured with papers aboard, it might change codes and procedures immediately. So the U-505 crew was isolated. The event was kept secret, and the damaged submarine was hauled first to Bermuda. The intelligence value was immense. Cryptographic material and technical information helped confirm Allied understanding of German naval communications and submarine procedures. Just as important, the capture showed how completely the Atlantic War had changed. In the early years, U-boats hunted almost at will. By mid-1944, an Allied task group could hunt the hunters, force one to the surface, board it, and take it home. That is why the capture of U-505 stands out. It was not merely a naval victory. It was a theft of knowledge in the middle of combat, part boarding action, part intelligence coup, part proof that the Atlantic tide had turned for good. In a war full of sinking ships, One of the most remarkable moments came when a submarine did not sink, and that changed everything the Allies could learn from it.